Have you ever felt, in the middle of a busy day, that gentle weight of a gaze on your back? You turn around and there he is, your dog standing still, in absolute silence, simply watching your every move with an intensity that borders on the mystical. Many times we just smile and ask, "What is it, buddy? Want to go for a walk? Are you hungry?" We try to translate that silence into our immediate human needs. But the truth that canine behavior science is revealing is much deeper and, honestly, a little heartbreaking in its purity. That look is not a request. It is not a demand for a treat or for the door to be opened. In fact, when your dog stares at you that way, he is engaging in a biological phenomenon called the oxytocin gaze. It is a chemical hug. Studies show that when you and your dog maintain that soft eye contact, oxytocin levels, the hormone of love and bonding, surge in both of your nervous systems in exactly the same way that happens between a mother and her newborn baby. But here is the part that most owners ignore and that ends up creating a silent disconnection. We were taught to believe in a superficial myth that dogs are purely transactional beings, that they love us because we open the food container or throw the ball. This idea that canine love is just an exchange of favors is the biggest lie ever told about them. If it were only about food, anyone with a handful of kibble would receive the same loyalty you do. But try to notice what happens when you arrive home exhausted, without energy to play, without even looking at the food bowl. Your dog does not run to the kitchen, he runs to you. He does not want what you have, he wants who you are. Modern canine psychology shows us that for your dog, you are not an owner or a provider. To his limbic system, you are the safe harbor, the base for exploration, and the only guarantee that the world makes sense. When he looks at you intently, he is calibrating his own emotional state to yours. If you are tense, his heart races. If you relax, he finally releases the air from his lungs in a deep sigh. It is such an intense fusion of identities that, many times, your dog knows you are going to get sick or that you are sad even before you consciously process it. Understanding this invisible code is the first step to stop merely having a dog and to start truly living a partnership of souls. There is a latent pain in many owners, a guilt about not knowing whether they are giving back enough. But I am here to tell you that the simple fact of being present already heals your dog in ways you cannot even imagine. Have you ever felt that heavy paw or a gentle touch on your arm while you were focused on something else? Most of us react with automatic affection, thinking the dog is just asking for something. But in canine psychology, that touch carries an emotional inheritance that goes back to the earliest days of your best friend's life. As puppies, dogs press their paws against their mother to stimulate the flow of milk, but above all to feel that they are not alone in the dark. This pressing movement generates an immediate response in the nervous system, the release of endorphins that fight fear. Therefore, when your adult dog places his paw on you, he is not just asking permission, he is retrieving that memory of absolute safety. He is saying, "I trust you to be my safe harbor, just as my mother once was." Ignoring this gesture or reacting with impatience can silently send the message that that safe harbor is not available, creating a small crack in the trust he has placed in you. But there is something even more invisible and profound happening, the alchemy of scent. Have you noticed how your dog insists on rubbing against you, pressing his face, his cheeks, or even throwing himself against your legs? For us humans, smell is functional. For your dog, smell is the biography of the soul. Dogs have scent glands in strategic places, such as the cheeks, the forehead, and the base of the tail. By rubbing against you, he is not only showing affection, he is performing a ritual of shared identity. In nature, members of the same family mix their scents to create a pack smell. It is as if he were dressing you in his chemical signature while at the same time absorbing yours. That is why, when you come back from a trip or from a new place, your dog smells you with realizes that the shared scent between you has been contaminated by the outside world. He is not just being curious, he is trying to restore the chemical connection that says, "We belong to each other." This nightly ritual of pressing his body against yours before sleeping is the peak of that surrender. He is making sure that during the state of greatest vulnerability, sleep, the world knows that you are a single, unique, and inseparable unit. Understanding this brings immense relief to that guilt we feel for not doing enough. For your dog, the simple act of allowing him to blend his world with yours is the greatest proof of love he could ever receive. Have you ever wondered why your dog insists on sleeping in the same position every night? Maybe leaning against your back, maybe at your feet, or perhaps strategically facing the bedroom door. This choice has nothing to do with thermal comfort or laziness. It is a tactical decision based on a code of honor he has carried for thousands of years. In canine psychology, sleep is the moment of greatest vulnerability for any predator. By choosing your bedroom, and specifically your proximity, to rest, your dog is ignoring all his self-preservation instincts in order to take on a position of duty. In wild animal colonies, members take turns keeping watch so that others can sleep deeply. When he positions himself beside you, he is telling his nervous system, "This human is mine to protect." If he sleeps near your head, he is protecting your most vulnerable area. If he sleeps facing the entrance, he becomes the shield between you and any external threat. But his monitoring goes far beyond physical safety. Your dog is a relentless reader of your biological signals. Studies indicate that dogs can detect subtle changes in human body chemistry, such as the release of cortisol when you are stressed, as well as changes in your heartbeat and breathing patterns. That is why, on nights when you are restless or sick, he seems unable to leave your side. He does not know why you are suffering, but he senses that your baseline has changed. Sleeping beside you gives him a front-row seat to your emotional state. He gathers information through your heart rhythm and your nighttime restlessness. This connection is so powerful that many dogs even rewrite their own biological clock for you. By nature, dogs are crepuscular animals, programmed to be active at dawn and dusk. However, dogs that form a deep bond with their guardians gradually synchronize their sleep-wake cycles to mirror ours. They ignore millennia of evolution just to make sure that when you are awake, they are there for you, and when you sleep, they can stand guard. This biological sacrifice is the ultimate proof that, for him, your companionship is the absolute priority above any natural instinct. Understanding that your dog works while you rest transforms the feeling that he is merely a pet into the realization that he is a devoted life partner. Have you ever had a day when everything went wrong? You came home, said nothing, and felt your dog approach you with unusual gentleness, simply resting his head on your lap. Science is finally proving what guardians have felt for generations. Your dog reads you better than you read yourself. Research shows that dogs not only recognize our facial expressions, but they also react to the scent of our stress. When your body releases cortisol, the stress hormone, your dog detects this chemical signature immediately. He does not know that you had a problem at work or an argument in traffic, but he senses that his pack is under emotional threat. This is the most resilient proof of love that exists: silent empathy. Many dogs become shadows of their guardians in these moments, not out of neediness, but out of an instinct for emotional regulation. Through physical presence, he is trying to lower your heart rate and balance your nervous system. Yet there is a weight to this connection that we rarely discuss. Because they are so sensitive, dogs often absorb our anxiety as if it were their own. If you live in a constant state of alert, your dog never truly feels safe enough to relax. This is where your emotional responsibility becomes an act of mutual healing. When you understand that he is the mirror of your inner state, you begin to realize that caring for your own calm is the greatest gift you can give him. It is not just about giving affection, it is about being the serene leader he needs so that he can finally close his eyes and rest. This emotional escalation shows us that the bond between human and dog is one of the few relationships on Earth where the healing of one intrinsically depends on the peace of the other. By validating this connection, you stop seeing your dog as a dependent and start seeing him as the guardian of your emotional sanity. We have reached a point where we can no longer ignore reality. Your dog is not just living with you. He is actively reshaping his own biology to adapt to yours. When we analyze all these signs, the touch of the paw, the sleep monitoring, the emotional synchronization, we realize that canine behavior is, in fact, a language of survival based on love. For him, loyalty is not a moral choice, it is a vital necessity. Scientists have discovered that dogs who live in homes with strong bonds recover from stress much faster than lonely dogs, simply because the presence of their guardian acts as a biological regulator. This reshapes everything we thought we knew. If we once believed that we were the ones teaching dogs how to behave, we now understand that it is they who teach us about the purest form of connection. Every adapted meow, as we see in other felines, every bark and every directed gaze is a heroic attempt by a different species to break the barrier of silence to say, "I see you." Your dog does not see you as a separate human. He sees you as a giant, clumsy dog who is part of his colony, and that is the greatest compliment he could ever give you. It is a leveling of souls. The great transformation happens when you stop interpreting his behaviors as problems or neediness and begin to read them as communication. That zoomy at 3 a.m. is not madness, it is a security patrol. That gift of a dead animal or a drool-covered toy at your feet is not dirtiness. It is a survival lesson and a desire to share success with you. When you change your lens, your dog's world lights up because he finally feels understood in his deepest essence. After going through each silent signal, each paw touch, and each deep gaze, the truth becomes impossible to ignore. For your dog, you are not just the owner. You are the very concept of home. He does not need you to be perfect, to understand every command, or to have all the answers. He only needs your presence. In his world, being chosen by you is the greatest demonstration of love that exists. Every time he presses his body against yours or adjusts his own sleep to match yours, he is rewriting millennia of evolution just to belong to your world. This absolute loyalty is one of the few pure things left. A connection that science defines as an attachment as deep as that of a baby to its mother. When you understand that fixed gaze in the dark is a well-being check to make sure you are alive and safe, gratitude replaces doubt. You have officially been chosen by a soul that does not know deceit, only devotion. Therefore, the next time you feel that gentle touch or notice your friend watching you in silence, take a deep breath and feel the weight of that honor. You are his safe harbor, the only presence that tells his entire nervous system that everything is okay. Honoring this bond is the greatest gift you can give yourself. After all, in a world full of uncertainties, your dog's love is the one truth that never fails. If you feel that this connection is what makes your life special, you are not alone. You are part of a select group of humans who have learned to hear what the heart cannot put into words.